Hello, this is Stevie B at Piedmont Technical College. I'm Steve Coleman, Director of Whatever's Necessary to Promote Student Access and Success at Piedmont Technical College. While we're in a virtual atmosphere, we wanted to make sure or provide an opportunity to reach out to our constituents in all of our counties, wherever our students might be, including social media. And we wanted to make sure that everyone knows that we're still serving our students and we'll be providing information ongoing while we all endure this virtual situation as it results from the coronavirus impact in our communities. We want to thank you for joining us. We will be taking your questions regarding financial aid today, so please submit your questions via the chat option. We have with us today Miss Missy Perry, and Missy is Piedmont Technical College's Director of Financial Aid. I'm going to turn it over to Missy right now, and I'll be monitoring and looking for questions, and let's engage in some conversation about Piedmont Technical College and getting students enrolled for the fall. Missy, how are you?
Great, Steve. Thank you for having me on here today. I'm so excited to get to discuss financial aid with everyone who is joining us, and want to assure you that our financial aid office is definitely working in this virtual environment to make sure that we get all of your funding ready for college. So we're going to go through a quick presentation. It won't take very long, just to discuss what financial aid is, how you can apply for financial aid, and what we have available. And then at the end of that, we will go through some questions and answers. So let's get the presentation pulled up and we will get started on that. Okay, so the first question that you probably have for financial aid is, how do I pay for college, or what exactly is financial aid? And financial aid can be various things. The first two that we'll talk about are grants and scholarships. Grants is money that is given to you, and it's usually based upon need. So that is free money. That's something that you would not have to repay. Scholarships are similar, but they are usually based on some type of skill, talent, academic achievement, and again, also sometimes on financial need. We also have what is work. It's usually work study is how you'll hear that referred to. And that's where you will work a job on campus, sometimes off campus with a nonprofit, and you'll actually earn money to help you while you're attending college. And then we also have loans. So anything that ends in the word loan is something that you would have to repay, but those we do have available to assist you with paying for your education. Next, we're going to talk about the financial aid process. So step one of the financial aid process begins in October. So you don't have to do this at the beginning of October, but the FAFSA is the first step, and that does open on October 1st of each year for the following fall. The FAFSA, or the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, is the main application for financial aid. It's a form of need analysis, and by that I mean it's a fancy formula that calculates the need based off of information provided by you and your family. It's going to determine the expected family contribution, or the EFC. That's the number that will come back at the end, and that is what the financial aid office will use to determine some of your grant amounts, especially your federal grant amounts. For the next year, we will use 2018 income. So we do go 2 years back. We'll look at taxed and untaxed income. For a student who is under 24, not married, doesn't have children, you will provide both student and parent income and information on that FAFSA. And if you are considered an independent student, meaning that you're over 25, you're married, you have children, you've been in the military, you're a veteran, then you would provide just the student's information and possibly their spouse's information on there. We're going to also look at the total household size, so the number of people that are living in the household, and then also the number of students that are in college. The FAFSA can be sent up to 10 colleges and universities, And again, the most important thing to remember about the FAFSA is the very first word for what I said it stands for. It is free. So you should never be paying to complete that. If you are getting a bill at the end of completing the FAFSA online, you're probably on the wrong website. So next we're going to talk about how to actually complete the FAFSA. So you will complete the FAFSA online at www.fafsa.gov. The link is right here on the slide. The student and one parent will have to register for an FSA user ID to sign and submit the FAFSA. And an important thing that we like to encourage people to do is to use the IRS data retrieval tool. And what this tool does is it will allow you to import the information directly from your taxes into your FAFSA. So you're not trying to shuffle papers and find the numbers. It will just pull that directly in and ensure that everything is correct. I also want to mention that we do have virtual assistants available right now within our financial aid office. So even though we're not on campus and able to assist you face-to-face, we can definitely assist by phone, or we also have the ability to assist by video chat. So we have dropped the link. It should be pinned in the chat or at the top of the live event for the ability to request an appointment with a financial aid counselor so that we can assist you through this process if you need it. The next part of the financial aid process, and this is equally as important as completing the FAFSA, is to complete any additional requirements. The FAFSA is not the end, it's simply the beginning, the first application. So you'll want to respond to all requests from the financial aid office as promptly as possible. We do say that the entire process generally takes about 1 month to be able to make corrections or make sure everything is correct and going along. So you'll want to start early to reduce your stress. If you are selected for the process called verification, don't stress about it. It happens to approximately 30% of all students who complete the FAFSA. That is really just where we have to look at the tax information and all of the information verifying your household size and make sure that everything's complete on your FAFSA. And this is to make sure that you're getting the correct amount of aid that you should be receiving. So just make sure you complete those forms honestly and accurately, and we won't have a problem there. The next part of the financial aid process, after you've completed everything, is we will create your awards, and then you can determine your balance. So after everything's completed, your award listing will be available on the Pathway Student Portal. You'll get an email from us. And then beginning on July 1st, you'll be able to review your balance for the fall term and determine how you will pay it. So at that time, you can determine if you need to accept a student loan or if you have a balance. A lot of you may not. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the available financial aid that we have at Piedmont Technical College. There are several types available, and students usually receive a mix of scholarships, grants, and work study and loans. And it is determined based off of what you've provided on that FAFSA and additional documentation. First, we'll talk about our federal grants. So our federal grants are coming from, of course, our federal government. The first and biggest one that you'll hear about is our federal Pell Grant. And this is based on need. It's up to $61.95 for the academic year. So half of that for fall and half of that for spring. And again, that is based off of the need coming in from that FAFSA. So there is a big chart, and depending on where your need comes in, you could receive some or all of that funding. Some students don't receive any, but there are additional options. We also have the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, or you'll hear us call it SEOG. That is up to $1,000, and it is limited funds, and it's first come, first serve. So this is, again, why we encourage students to apply early. Okay, next we'll talk about our state scholarships. So students from South Carolina are actually very lucky. We have a good state scholarship and grant program available. to assist our students in continuing their education past high school. So first we'll talk about the Life Scholarship. And this is something that most students coming out of high school know about. But there are two different things that you may not know about the Life Scholarship. There are different requirements for a 2-year technical college versus a 4-year institution. So at a 2-year technical college, your requirement coming out of high school is simply that you have a 3.0 GPA. If you have a 3.0 GPA on the South Carolina Uniform Grading Scale, and you're admitted, you're from South Carolina, you have South Carolina residency, then you would be eligible for that Life Scholarship. Where with a 4-year institution, that's a little bit different. You're also looking at SAT or ACT scores and your percentage of your graduating class. So there are a couple of different requirements there. But at least for us, if you meet those requirements, then that Life Scholarship will cover up to $5,000 in your tuition with and that includes a $300 book voucher. It will cover you for up to 4 consecutive terms, assuming you're in an associate's degree. And you can renew that scholarship for a second year as long as you have a 3.0 GPA and you've earned 30 credit hours during your first year. Next, we also have the Lottery Tuition Assistance Program. So if you're not eligible for the Life Scholarship, you could potentially receive the Lottery Tuition Assistance Program. And this is for students in eligible certificate, diploma, or associate degree program at a 2-year technical college. You have to file the FAFSA. You have to be attending in at least 6 credit hours. So that's generally 2 classes. And the amount for at least for next fall, will be $110 per credit hour. You cannot receive lottery tuition assistance if you're receiving Life. So you're going to receive the scholarship or grant that pays out the most. So Life is the most. Next will be followed by lottery tuition assistance. If you're receiving lottery tuition assistance and you're also in a certain eligible major, which are a lot of our STEM, our science, healthcare, manufacturing type majors, you could also receive the SC Wins. And that pays an additional $100 per credit hour, up to $2,500 for the year. And that will also give you a $300 book stipend. So that's the combination of those 2 programs is great. And most of our students who receive those 2 are able to attend tuition free. We also have the South Carolina Need-Based Grant that is available. Again, this is something with limited funds. So this is why you'll want to apply early to have the biggest chance of receiving this. You have to complete the FAFSA and be degree seeking. And that has a maximum award of $1,650. There's some additional aid opportunities that are out there. There's other scholarships. So we do have foundation scholarships. And once you're enrolled, you'll just keep your eye open and watch on your email and our website. We open the applications for foundation scholarships 3 times per year. You can apply for those and receive those. Those are generally based off of a specific major or maybe a county that you're living in. There's also outside scholarships, which a lot of graduating seniors receive those from banks or local communities. We also have several, I've only listed 2 here, the Lawrence Future Scholarship and the Greenwood Promise, but we also have several counties that will pick up the remainder of your tuition and fees after your other aid applies. So we do have Lawrence, Greenwood, Saluda, and Addyville at this time that will do that. So those are great programs. And you should be hearing about those through your high school if you're a high school senior. We have Federal Work Study, which I discussed a little bit earlier. And the Federal Work Study program provides funds for students that are employed part-time within the college or within the community. That's handled through the college. So we do have that option. And then, of course, last we have our federal student loans. So we do encourage smart borrowing. So only borrow what you need for your tuition and your fees, your books, or any type of educational related expenses. And there's two different types of loans. There's subsidized and unsubsidized. You'll learn a lot about those if you accept those loans and go through our entrance counseling. Just a quick slide on affordability, just to let everyone know that approximately 7 out of 10 of our students receive enough scholarships and grants to cover their entire balance. That means tuition free, nothing out of your pocket. So with the low cost, we have less debt coming out of Piedmont Technical College. And also, if you were to receive life or lottery and wins combination, or a Pell Grant recipient, you can often attend tuition free for 2 years, which of course saves you thousands of dollars. And that is actually the end of the presentation. So Steve, we can come back over to you and answer any questions that we may have.
Missy, that is absolutely incredible information. I speak all the time about Piedmont Tech's access, students' access to Piedmont Technical College. I firmly believe, as a 25+ year educator, that the South Carolina Technical College system, and Piedmont Technical College in particular, is one of the best options for education for all students. We have students that are coming to Piedmont Tech for our technical programs, automotive technology, engineering technology, mechatronics technology. And these are people that are going out into the workforce and enjoying fruitful, economically sound lives because of training that they've had. We also have a considerable amount of our student body who are students that plan to transfer to South Carolina, to Clemson, to Lander, to Newberry College, and other institutions. One of the things that we do is we provide quality, affordability, and that translates into not having debt when you receive your degree and entering into the workforce as a trained individual that can begin to be fruitful in their lives from the very beginning. There's nothing like the technical college system. When you're throwing out a statistic like 7 out of 10 students legitimately have an opportunity to go tuition free for the first 2 years of their education, where else can you do that? Where else can you do that? So I'm looking down at my list here with Christy Nichols and Loretta Maffett Adams and Sandra Counts and Taylor Johnson and many others who've joined us. Please send us your questions now. Missy's here to answer those questions and to show you how Piedmont Tech can not only become a reality, but can become a reality very quickly for students who are really, really wanting to go back to school, get started, continuing their education. We're ready, we're available. The summer is here and ready to start. We're ready to answer questions. Who's sending? And while we wait on questions, other things that we talk about, you know, Missy, many of our students think that the financial aid process is really, really complicated. Could you talk briefly about, you know, when I use the term simple, I think of things that are easy to navigate. There are, of course, paperwork and documents that you have to provide. What are some of those documents that you need to have on hand right away, again, to start the process?
Absolutely. So whenever you're going to start the process with the FAFSA, you'll basically want to sit down with your tax incomes, your federal tax returns from 2 years ago. So 2018, if you're coming for the fall. If you're coming for the summer, you're actually going to use 2017. So you'll want to have those tax returns in front of you if you, for some reason, can't use that data retrieval tool. But the FAFSA is so simplified now compared to what it used to be that really you need your social security number, your name, your birth date. And then, of course, if you're a dependent student, it's always good to have that parent sitting beside you so that they can assist with answering some of those questions that you may just not know. But it's really a simplified process now. And especially with our additional forms at Piedmont Tech, we've moved everything online. So you'll complete those forms 100% electronically. You're not trying to print papers or turn papers in or having to run into our office. You'll complete that from your computer or even your cell phone to get that turned into us. So the process is pretty simplified now.
That is absolutely fantastic. I'm looking down my timeline and I'm seeing some of the individuals that are real advocates for Piedmont Technical College in our communities. Um, uh, uh, and they're sending waves and saying, hey, way to go Piedmont Tech. Some of the other things that we do, Missy, students, do you have to come to Piedmont Tech Greenwood to get the full service financial aid treatment?
No, you do not. We absolutely have folks trained on our additional campuses who can assist with the FAFSA or completing paperwork. If it gets past that, you'll often need to speak to a financial aid counselor, but we do have the ability to, again, do a video chat to assist with that. So it's just like I'm sitting in front of you, my face is on the computer screen to help you.
I've got a question. One of our viewers is asking, do I need to fill out another FAFSA if I did one for 2019, 2020?
Okay, and I see that question maybe coming from Harley. Harley, if you are planning to attend for the fall, then yes, absolutely. You do need to complete that 2020-2021 FAFSA. The FAFSA is a yearly process. So whenever you did your last one, you did your last one for fall of 2019, spring of 2020, and summer of 2020. To begin the process, you'll need to do the FAFSA again for next school year, which starts in August.
And this is with your new tax information?
Yes, correct. You used 2017 whenever you did your 2019-2020 FAFSA. Whenever you do your 2020-2021 FAFSA, you will use your 2018 taxes. So not the ones you just filed, but the ones from 2 years ago.
I often get the question, Missy, that I may or may not be able to because of work obligations, family obligations. I want to pursue a degree, but I can only go part-time. How does your student status in terms of credit hours taken per semester affect your financial aid?
Well, the financial aid actually is based off the number of credit hours that you attend. So let's say you can only do 2 classes per term. Your Pell Grant would look at how many credit hours that you're in, and it will adjust based off of that, which of course your tuition charges also decreases based off of that. Same for lottery tuition assistance. So we do encourage students to try to take at least 6 credit hours if they can, because that's really where you become eligible for that lottery tuition assistance and SC Wins. Pell Grant will pay going down for 3 credit hours in some instances, but not always.
Excellent, excellent. One of the other questions we get is, and of course there are students that for a number of reasons have had to stop out. And this is probably a question where one of my viewers is saying, don't put my name up there. But I'm going to ask the question. I was once a student, and at that time I withdrew from courses and I found myself in a negligent financial aid situation. What can I do to correct that?
Well, there's a couple of different things. And again, this is a situation where each student is different, and that is a student that we would want to speak to and look at their actual situation. If it's just a situation where they withdrew from courses, then they may not be meeting all the requirements for financial aid. But if they're changing their major, that could possibly make a difference. Or if there was an extenuating circumstance of why they had to withdraw from those courses. So they had a change in work hours, or they had a baby, or they were in a car accident, something like that, then that's definitely something they could appeal. And we would look at and could possibly grant an extension on that financial aid.
That's an excellent answer. So the reality for those of you who are out there who have been in school before, and I know that there's some out there, is that you can file a financial aid appeal, and you need to get into an office, one of our offices on one of our campuses, and talk to a financial aid professional, a financial aid specialist, to get your questions answered. Don't let a previous financial aid situation deter you from continuing your education, restarting your education. Missy, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
It looks like we have one more question that's out there from Harley. Harley is asking if they get into their program first, I can apply as June 1st. Is there a time limit on when I can apply for the 2020-2021 FAFSA? Well, again, to reduce stress, you want to do that as early as possible. So even if you do not know if you're going to get into your program, I would strongly encourage you to go ahead and do that FAFSA now. Do it at this point so that if you do apply and you are accepted in your program on June 1st, you don't have to think about it. It's already done. We can work on the rest of the requirements, get your aid ready to go, and you're smooth sailing the rest of the way.
Well, that's great, Missy. Missy, I want to thank you for taking the time to come in and share this incredibly valuable information with our potential students and our Facebook audience and live audience today.
Thank you, Steve.
And I'd like to say this in closing. Piedmont Tech is standing strong. We're ready to receive students. We do have some changes and some different guidelines that we have to follow because of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, education is available, financial aid is available, services are available, and assistance is available. We're flexible enough to be able to adjust to our students' needs. That's what we do in the technical college system. That's what we do at Piedmont Technical College every day. We want to encourage you to reach out to us, reach out to Missy in the financial aid department. If you feel like right now we've encouraged you that you want to get started, it's not too late. Let's get on in there. I know Missy's smiling saying, okay, you're going to have them piling on top of me right now at the last minute with financial aid requests, but let's give us a shot. Let's give it a shot to get started. And we're going to try to do things and live our lives as normally as we possibly can in a situation that I'm sure none of us thought we'd have to endure. But we're Piedmont Technical College. We're standing strong. We believe in our students. We believe in ourselves and our ability to serve our students. And we look forward to hearing from you online, via telephone call and make an appointment. And we'll be here again this time next week with another broadcast. Share this information. Let everyone know that Piedmont is reaching out to our communities. And we will see you next week.